No one in the auditorium knew who the quiet man in the black coat was. No one noticed the way the teachers suddenly stopped whispering. No one saw the way the security guard froze near the exit, except one 12-year-old boy on stage, an orphan, with trembling hands on a borrowed microphone, who suddenly forgot every word he had practiced for months, because standing in the back of the hall, under the dim lights, was Ozzy Osbourne. Before the story continues, if emotional stories like this move your heart, subscribe to our channel Voices of Darkness right now. Like this video, and share it with your friends who believe music can save lives. If you love Ozzy Osbourne, share this video and help us reach our 1,000 subscribers goal. Now prove your love. The boy who never missed a practice, his name was Ethan. 12 years old, small for his age, quiet in a way that made teachers forget he was even in the room. Ethan lived in St. Mary's Children's Home, a grey brick building on the edge of town where laughter echoed less often than silence. The kind of place where birthdays were shared, shoes were handed down, and dreams were learned to be kept quiet. Ethan had been there since he was 6. No parents, no relatives, no visitors on visiting days. But Ethan had something else. Music, not piano lessons, not choir training, just an old, scratched MP3 player donated years ago, with one album copied onto it by a volunteer who never returned. An album with a voice that sounded broken, angry, haunted, but somehow still alive. Ozzy. Every night, after lights out, Ethan would lie on his narrow bed, one earbud tucked under his pillow, listening quietly so the supervisors wouldn't hear. The songs weren't gentle. They weren't meant for kids, but to Ethan, they felt honest. When Ozzy sang about darkness, Ethan didn't feel alone in his own. The year-end performance every year. The local school held a year-end performance night. Parents filled the seats. Phones came out. Flowers were handed to kids afterward. For Ethan it was different. No parents, no flowers, no one in the crowd there just for him still. This year was special. The music teacher, Mrs. Callahan, had noticed something. Ethan stayed late after school, asked questions no one else did, tapped rhythms on desks, hummed melodies under his breath. When she asked him why he loved music so much, Ethan shrugged and said, "It feels like someone understands me, even when I don't." So Mrs. Callahan made a decision. For the first time, the school would allow a solo performance by a student from the children's home. Ethan chose the song himself. Not a pop hit, not a children's tune, a stripped-down acoustic version of a song inspired by Ozzy, rewritten, simplified, made school-appropriate, but still raw. The title of Ethan's version, Still Standing, a letter that changed everything. 2 months before the performance, Ethan wrote a letter, not for extra credit, not for attention, just because he felt like he had to. He didn't know where to send it at first. Then Mrs. Callahan helped him find an address, a fan outreach mailbox. The letter was short, messy handwriting, spelling mistakes everywhere. "Dear Ozzy, my name is Ethan. I am 12 years old. I live in a children's home. Your music helps me sleep when my head is too loud. I am singing at my school this year. I will think of your songs so I don't get scared. Thank you for making music for people like me." They sent it. Neither of them expected anything back. The day of the performance, the auditorium smelled like old curtains and fresh polished plastic chairs scraped against the floor as parents took their seats. Ethan stood backstage, clutching his lyric sheet. Even though he knew every word by heart, his hands were shaking. "You'll be fine," Mrs. Callahan whispered. "Just sing like you do when no one's listening." Ethan nodded. The announcer called his name. A few polite claps. Ethan stepped onto the stage. The lights were brighter than he expected. He couldn't see the faces, only shadows. He took a breath, then another. And that's when it happened. The man in black in the back row, near the exit, a tall figure stepped into the light. Round glasses, dark coat, familiar posture. At first, Ethan thought his mind was playing tricks on him. But then the man tilted his head slightly and smiled. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. His heart started pounding so hard he thought the microphone might pick it up. No way. That's not real. The audience murmured. A teacher turned around. A security guard stiffened. Ethan forgot the song, forgot the crowd. All he could think was, why would he be here? For who? The man raised one hand, gently, as if to say, "It's okay, I'm listening." Finding his voice, Ethan swallowed hard. His voice cracked on the first line. A few kids in the front row looked uncomfortable. But then, something changed. Ethan stopped trying to sing perfectly. He sang, honestly. Every lonely night, every unanswered question, every time he wondered why no one had chosen him. The room grew quiet. No coughing, no phones. Just a small boy, and a voice filled with more pain than his age should ever allow. In the back row, Ozzy didn't move. He didn't clap. He didn't whisper. He just listened. Eyes fixed on the stage. Asterisk. The last note. Asterisk. The final chord faded. Silence. For one long second. No one reacted. Then a clap. Then another. Then the entire room stood. Ethan blinked back tears. He looked toward the back again. The man was standing now too, clapping, slowly. Respectfully, like one musician honoring another. The moment no one forgot. The principal stepped onto the stage, visibly shaken. Before we continue, we have a guest. A ripple of confusion spread through the room. Ozzy began walking down the aisle. Parents gasped. Teachers covered their mouths. Phones shot up too late. Ethan froze. Ozzy stepped onto the stage, kneeled down and hugged him. Not for cameras, not for show. Just a quiet, steady hug. Ozzy whispered something only Ethan could hear. You did better than most adults ever could. The promise. Asterisk. Ozzy took the microphone. I got a letter, he said softly, from a kid who thought no one was listening. He looked at Ethan. I was listening. The audience was crying openly now. Ozzy continued. This kid doesn't need saving. He already saved himself with music. Then he added, and if he wants, I'll help him every step of the way. What happened after asterisk that night changed Ethan's life. Music lessons were arranged. Scholarships offered. Mentors stepped forward. But more than that, for the first time, Ethan believed he mattered. Years later, Ethan would say, he didn't just show up to my performance, he showed up to my life. Some kids don't need gifts. They need someone to show up, someone to listen, someone to say, I see you. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to Voices of Darkness, like this video and share it with your friends. If you love Ozzy Osbourne, share this video and help us complete our 1,000 subscribers target. Now, prove your love. Comment your name below. You might become a character in our next story.